Hi, everyone. This is Viviette White. I'm here at the Pauline Tea-Bar and Apothecary here in Charlotte. And this is our first episode of Food Trip with the Charlotte Mecklenburg Library. It's a little rainy out, but it's a great day for some tea, and hot tea at that. So if you look around here, this is a beautiful building here on Ardee Avenue. And we would love for you to join us when it's actually not raining out. We're going to step inside, and I'm joined here with the owner and operator of Pauline Tea-Bar and Apothecary, Miss Sherry Waters. So let's go inside because it's kind of cold and rainy right now. All righty. Thank you for having us today.
I'm so glad. Welcome to the Pauline Tea-Bar Apothecary. Yes.
Well, I mean, I wish we had smell-o-vision because it smells amazing in here. And if you look around here, we do have a beautiful, beautiful setting. And, you know, I can hear waterfalls. And that's the best thing. You can hear waterfalls, and you can hear people that have, I mean, I can feel the souls of people. Let me just say that. I feel the souls of people. When you enter this space, you feel comfortable, you feel like the warmth, and you definitely feel the warmth of your smile. So give us a quick tour of what we are looking at right now.
So I'm going to turn our camera down just a little bit, and you are walking in, and the first thing you'll notice here is the unplug and relax, no Wi-Fi sign. But as you just came in, what arrests you as soon as you come in is our essential oil diffuser. Today I'm diffusing lavender and frankincense. So that's what you're smelling right now.
That smells amazing.
Yeah. And then come on in here and come around the corner here, and you will see our teas and our teacups here. These are all of our teas. We have a variety, about 20 different herbal teas and tisanis for people to choose from. So they'll choose the tea that they want, and then they come over here and they choose their cup. So,
this is a beautiful selection.
Or let the cup choose them.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say.
We invite people to choose their teacup, and tea just tastes so much better when you have it out of a teacup. So that's what you're experiencing right now.
And this is a great experience because people can feel the vibe as soon as they walk in the room, and they can also smell and get an idea of what smell is drawing them the best. And if you look, I want to take a quick look again at this wall. I see jasmine and rosehip and hibiscus and oolong, which is very popular. I mean, that's one of the base teas, I know.
Yes.
And so can you quickly just tell us a little bit about your selection of teas? Like what's the most popular tea that people come in?
The tea that you chose today, lemon ginger, is probably our most popular tea. But we have people with different varieties and tastes. We start people with a menu that my daughter designed for the Pauline Tea-Bar that tells them a little bit about the ingredients, gives them an overview of the benefits and what the teas are generally used for as far as medicinal support. But the teas that are very, very popular, of course, are the green teas, the black tea, and our white tea. Our white tangerine is a popular tea. And then we have tisanis, herbs, herb infused teas like the lemon ginger and the cinnamon orange.
Yeah, lemon ginger is one of my favorite. I like teas with a citrus flair. Yes. And also when you walk in, I noticed that you have a little sweet treat on the counter.
Yes, I do.
So with your tea, you can also have a slice of
pastries. We partner with Sweet Creations, which is a nonprofit restaurant that helps support my sister's house, women in transition that are learning to get back on a path of self-sufficiency again. So they bake our sweet goods. We have cookies, we have cake, we have even granola from Boda Bee and the Mighty Oats, sandwiches. So that's why you see all the chips here, because people like to pair their deli sandwiches from Sweet Creations with the chips.
So this opportunity is not just for tea tasting and herbal infusions, you can actually have a lunch brunch experience.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of people come here and co-work and meet with people that they are wanting to have meaningful communication and conversations with. And they just come and use the space all day long.
And I like it because not just that it's quiet, it's very convenient. And if you look over here, please express this beautiful environment here. Yeah, let me tilt it down. This is definitely a virtual experience.
So
today.
Yes, this is one of our spaces. So if you're looking to meet with about 3 or 5 people, this is a quiet corner space here. Those chairs are sprayed down with lavender. That's our secret. Lavender each day. But we have spacious sections, and this has been very popular as a spot during COVID because we are physically distanced, but we're inviting people to be socially together in a physically distant space. And then on the wall, you'll see local art.
You know, with technology, you can always like, hey,
take
2, snap back on.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
I guess we were talking about the art. So
yes,
we
change
up the art every 3 to 4 months. Every quarter, basically, we have a new artist represented. The artist that we have currently is Michelle Delafipo, who's a local artist, and her work is so life nourishing and giving. So that's what we currently have in the tea bar.
Yeah, I love this message right here. Your value is that of a great pearl. And some of the artwork, it just speaks to the environment that we are here in. It's a way to recharge, and also, like you said on your website, to unplug.
That's right.
Because a lot of us are so attracted to the cell phone age and checking emails on your laptops and tablets. And we're not saying that you couldn't bring your laptop and tablet and bring your own hotspot. Exactly. But it's not like about that in this space. A lot of people probably want to sit back and just sip tea, read, or even meditate. Let me put this back here. So we're going to get a chat in a bit about what is going on here at the Tea Bar and Apothecary. And hopefully, if you're in the Charlotte area, you can visit us and give us your address again.
So we're located at 2326 Ardee Avenue in West Charlotte. We're in the historic Camp Green neighborhood. So we're near Moorhead and Wilkinson, or if you know where Freedom and Moorhead intersect, we're about a mile up from there.
And what I love about your setting, if all of you can see this, Sherry has provided me with a beautiful tea setting. Here we have a full pot of tea, and I requested the mint ginger tea. And when guests come in, they serve the same way with China and the full-blown. I mean, this is like, I feel like I'm at my mom's house, because my mother was a big tea proponent, and she loved entertaining with fine china and tea. Excuse me, let me reach down here real quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. Everyone gets to choose their tea. Tea always tastes best out of a cup. That is warm honey. If you want to add in your lemon ginger, it just gives it an extra bit of boost of flavor, and the honey is really good for you right now for coating. Your throat. But yes, everyone chooses their cup. We pair, if they want a pot of tea, we pair the cup with a pot. And we get to choose the pot, and people sip and enjoy. How do you like it?
Oh my gosh, this is perfect for a rainy day, or any day actually. It goes down so smoothly.
Yeah.
And what was the ingredients for this particular thing?
So the lemon ginger has chicory root, cinnamon, rose hip, lemon, and ginger.
This is fantastic. Now I love ginger. I see it in the stores all the time, and I usually chop it up and boil it down with honey and lemon, and this is the perfect combination. let's get into the tea talk. It's so funny because we're talking about tea, and I know a lot of people, like myself, I love a good cup of coffee. Some people are like pure coffee drinkers, and some people are pure tea drinkers. Now, what can I wouldn't say convert people over to tea, but what are some of the positive benefits of drinking teas and herbs? Because there is a difference.
Yes. The benefits of drinking herbal tea is you're getting good antioxidants, you're getting benefits of lowering blood pressure, mental clarity, focus. It's good for lowering your cholesterol, losing weight, giving you sustainable energy. So the different teas give you different benefits, but most of the teas that we have are very similar in that they're high in antioxidants and high in boosting your immunity system, which is perfect for this time of the year.
Exactly. And I was just going to think, a lot of people are thinking that tea has high caffeine. Now, is the teas you serve here, is it something that people have to like think about when they're drinking tea? Is there a certain amount of tea you drink so that you don't get that high caffeine level?
Yeah, so the teas that have the highest content of caffeine are, of course, the black tea, the green tea, and the some white teas have it, but the black and the green are the high content caffeine. But the caffeine that you're getting from tea is sustainable tea. It's not the jittery tea that you'll get when you continually drink coffee. It's a tea or a caffeine that's going to sustain you and give you good energy throughout the day. Now, the other thing about tea is that there's no calories. Caloric intake is zero, unless you're adding things like cream and milk or honey, but just a little bit. You know, it's that's why it's good at losing weight. Yeah. So if you get a craving during the middle of the day, rather than going and getting that Snickers bar, which is going to give you a sugar crash later, an hour later, get you a cup of hot tea, and then you get that sustaining energy and you'll feel full.
Right. And there are some teas that you were saying earlier about losing weight. What are some of those teas? Because I'm sure people are joining gyms. This is the beginning of the year.
It's the beginning of the year.
You want to stay fit. Yes. So I saw something quickly about how people will drink a tea or drink a beverage that will help them lose weight. But if you're still eating the bad foods, that weight ain't going nowhere.
Right.
So what teas that you can pair with your healthy diet and healthy exercise, what teas would you recommend for losing weight?
Yeah, I like that you asked that question that way, because so many people like to start off the year saying, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this, and I'm going to stop eating this, I'm going to stop drinking this, and forget to add something to their habit. So adding drinking tea throughout the day, or drinking tea even twice a day, is going to be a benefit. Teas that I recommend to help with losing weight are the matcha, which is a green powder, Japanese powder, green sencha tea. And you just add that. You can actually put that, the green powder matcha, directly into your smoothie or in your oatmeal or in a bowl of cereal, or like we do, make a tea out of it. The yerba mate is good. That's what I'm drinking currently, adding some yerba mate to your morning routine instead of, or maybe in lieu of a cup of coffee, pare back from one of your cups of coffee and drink the yerba mate, and that gives you good mental focus. So is really good at giving you clarity on just kind of that morning fog that you may have.
And we all need that clarity, even during the day. I think sometimes we kind of doze off around 3 o'clock. It's like, I need something to boost me up. And instead of like adding a chocolate bar or something like that, a sugary soft drink, a tea probably would balance you out mentally and give you a little boost in your metabolism. Now, I'm glad you mentioned the loss of weight part, but also what about people who are trying to build mindfulness, as far as like staying brain focused and in tune all day, like a tea that will get you like
That's
quick
good.
start.
That's good. I was surprised when I discovered this, that a good tea for meditation and mindfulness is green tea. Again, green tea, because when you're meditating, you're not wanting to fall asleep. You want to be there in the moment.
Right.
So it gives you, it's a tea, the warming of it helps you to savor and calm. And I often do a tea meditation with clients that I see here in the tea bar or groups that we meet here. But starting off with a green tea will help. And for a lot of ancient ceremonies, they use a green tea like a matcha or yerba mate, or we have a gunpowder green tea that would be good for mindfulness or mental clarity.
Yeah, because sometimes in the moment of meditation, you can feel your body going someplace else.
Yes.
And that's what I felt when I walked in here. Guys, let me tell you, you have to, I wish you were here with us, but you are virtually. But if you get a chance, please come through, because, oh my goodness, not just the aroma, I think that has a lot to do with how your mind and your body feel, but also the serene feel. And you said you play sometimes meditation music in the room, and in the background you hear the waterfall and the sound of water trickling, but you feel this sense of calmness from just, I guess it's definitely your personality. Because if Sherry is such a peaceful person. I mean, I just see.
I don't know if my kids would say that,
Yeah,
but
no,
thank
yeah.
you. I'll take that.
You would really, and so that being said, what is your background with like mindfulness, meditation, spirituality, and healing and that sort of thing? How did you get involved in this?
So, good question. I launched the tea bar. Well, the seed for this was planted when I was serving as a resident chaplain for Atrium Health. So I ended my residency as a chaplain for Atrium ended in 2016. But it was there in the clinical setting that I learned how to be with patients and their families, how to bring down the anxiety that they were having from pain or from a new way of life that they were going to have to leave the hospital and be in, even being with patients that were in their dying stage. I trained and learned integrative wellness, using the aromatherapy, using guided meditation, healing touch, all of the modalities that help people just heal and feel better. So one of the qualities that I know I wanted to have here at the Tea Bar is a restorative environment. So all of those things I brought here. And that's why when people come in and the first thing they do is exhale,
breathe and exhale.
I know that we've done our job, because we want people to feel like a weight is lifted off their shoulders when they come in here to the Pauline Tea-Bar.
And I'm telling you, when I walked in today, I felt it. I felt that lift. And I was saying how I felt the souls of people that are here. It's a very spiritual, relaxing place. It's very comfortable and calm, but it also recharges you. So what was your mission in that part? Because I know you saying you want to, help people heal and relax and calm, but what is the recharge spark part?
So I want to just note that this building that you're in used to be a medical office. Wow. So the apothecary piece comes from the fact that we are still helping to heal people through the elements of aromatherapy, of calming music, of drinking herbal tea. And your question was, what is it that
you used to recharge?
Oh, recharge. Yes. So the other thing that we're offering people is a different way of living their life. We're in a very busy city, hustling, growing, and it's go, go, go. So a coffee bar or a cafe, most of them are you're going in to get caffeinated up, to fuel up. We're inviting people to do something very countercultural, to relax, to unplug, to be in the present moment. And in that being in the present is where you tune in innerly to who you are, to the divine, to something bigger than yourself. And that does it does activate something that's going to fuel you and fuel whatever your passions are, your mission, remind you of who you are, that it's okay to be still and be and to be known. We invite people to come and be known here.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to get, I think you have to get to know yourself.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we're so busy getting pointed to and being told what we are, told where we sit, what position we hold, or what state of mind we're in based on what other people tell you or dictate to you. It's good to know your self-worth. And that's what I see here, that you come in and you just get empowered. It's a powerful building. It's interesting that you said this used to be a medical building, because in a way it still is, because medically we're channeling ourselves through tea, but also just unplugging, sitting back in silence and stillness. Yeah. When you hear a voice to yourself, it's like, yes, I can see myself now.
Well, you said something earlier about you feel the souls, you feel people's souls.
Yes.
And that's why the tea bar is named after my grandmother, Pauline. Both of my grandmothers, actually, Pauline and Lena, invited people to come into their living rooms and onto their porches, people from all races, all backgrounds, to just kind of have community conversation. And in those conversations, we got to know one another. We got to be known, like I said. So Pauline, she grew up in Lake Lure, North Carolina. She was a sharecropper. She was an herbalist. So she and my grandfather had farmland that they were in charge of cultivating and growing vegetables and herbs and fruits. And that's why I guess I invoke her spirit here, and that I'm inviting people to enjoy the herbalism healing of tea and enjoy the conversation of community, or the benefit of community. So you're absolutely right. I'm hoping that I'm extending the legacy of my grandmothers and doing that through the china and the elements.
This reminds me of, I remember my grandmother's tea sets. Some of them were chipped, but it told stories because of how many times they used those teacups. They were proud of the china sets. They would have them placed on the table with fine linens and doilies. And, they would have their friends over sometimes after church on Sundays, and they would have their tea talks and, or just sit and sip and hum. And I mean, it was, I think tea and humming go along pretty well,
yes,
too.
It does. Yes, it
because
does.
I do remember my grandmother doing that and sipping tea and just humming a hymn perhaps, or any song that came into her head. But it's funny you said that they would sit on the porch, because I know a lot of people who are familiar with Southern homes, and especially the African-American home, there's always a porch story. And a lot of times the people in the community would come to the elders or the older person in the neighborhood for the porch story, or what's new, because they were always sitting on the porch getting the news.
Yes.
And they would sip their tea.
Yes, they would. Yes, they would. We would sit there and shuck corn, or break, snap peas, cornrow our hair.
There you go.
All of those. All of those things actually were meditative.
Oh my gosh.
They were meditative, and we could talk about different issues and life and religion, politics, and all those things happen over, enjoying some tea or snapping those peas or shucking corn and doing those things that, I mean, now that I think about it, it was a meditative way of doing things.
And it's interesting you said about the hair, a lot of times you sit in between grandma's legs or your mother's legs and get your hair either greased or corn rolled or braided up, or, set for, whatever event you were going to. And it was during that time that sometimes I remember kind of nodding off, but I wasn't totally asleep. It was just so relaxing having someone do my hair. And I know some of you that continue to go to salons and hair boutiques or whoever gets your hair done. It is meditative because the person is talking to you And, there's this kind of like back and forth combination of conversation and,
Yeah.
so it's
That's right. That's right.
it's an underline of a communication, and it might not even be full sentences, just a gesture or a look. But yes, and that's why I said the African traditions of sitting and talking with elders is so important. Having a community griot, it's like,
Yes.
this is where I feel that would be,
Yes.
in a tea house, tea bar, as like this one. And like we were saying, the other extreme with the coffee bars and those kind of experiences are more loud and rushed, and you want to get it going so you can get your day. But here it's more like you come in and you wait.
Yeah.
And you sit. You do not rush.
And you let us serve.
Right.
So gracious hospitality is our number one value. And we were very intentional about having that as our value. We want people to feel beloved. We want people to feel their value. And so we bring out your tray with your honey warmed up, with your teacup poured already, and more in the pot. We want you to feel like you came in. As one of my patrons, I'm still in this from one of my patrons said that she walked in and felt like she was getting a hug. And that's what we want to do. We want people to feel like they're coming in and getting a hug from from someone that adores them. And we are all supposed to be adored. We're all supposed to be loved in that way.
And I was going to ask, what is the process of you finding this location? And first, finding the location in yourself, because to make an endeavor like this is great, especially in a huge city like Charlotte, North Carolina. But how was the process for you to decide, I'm going to open this establishment and this is the purpose of it? What was that process?
It goes back to me being a chaplain, and I still do chaplain work as a community chaplain, but really seeing the benefit of that for the people that I got to serve. And I knew that I wanted to offer something like that for people outside of the clinical setting. So after I left my residency, I was working in the nonprofit world, and I've done that for the last 28 years of my life, serving people, volunteers, and donors and staff with just helping to instill or steward whatever it was that they were wanting to give back to the community, and then caring for them and meeting with them. So I started looking for a place. I actually thought I had found one, and it was a house, one of those big Victorian looking houses with a wraparound porch. But as you know, the housing market is so expensive right now, expensive. So I heard, in my spirit, not right now, that's not it. I've got the place for you. And I was working in this community for about 4 years, passing this building, going up and down these streets to my other job. And it was like one day, there is this glow around this building. I know that sounds woo-woo, but it really attracted me.
That's beautiful.
It's almost like the building chose me.
Right.
And the commercial real estate company had just gutted it out and restored it and had it. It was an empty shell. But when I peered in the window and I saw the space, the realtor or the owner of the company came and saw me peering in and asked if what I was looking for, and I told him my concept, that I was looking for a place for people to come and just have lounge and have respite. And he said, I want you to go and talk to my realtor. And about 2 weeks later, I was signing the lease for this space. But I will say that tea was secondary. The space for quiet and calm and peace was the first thing that I wanted. And talking to my husband and my family and a few good advisors, I said, I think that what's going to draw people here is tea. We don't have anything that's
We
totally
don't.
dedicated to tea in Charlotte. And so I became a quick study. I knew a little bit about tea, but learned more of the benefits and more of what was offered. And then found a company that's fair trade, eco-source, sustainable in the way they do their practices, and a couple of other local farms to source my tea leaves. And that's how it started.
That's the process. I mean, it's
2019, July. So we were open about 9 months before the pandemic started.
Wow. So how has that, I guess, changed from the pandemic part, because you were pre-pandemic when you opened? Did you notice a dramatic change as far as, did you all have to shut down completely? And
yeah, we I think when the pandemic first started, all the there was a shutdown citywide for about 2 weeks, and we knew that we had to quickly pivot. I think someone's wanting to come into the chat into the room.
Let's enter. Yes.
Yeah, invite Christina in.
Yes.
We knew that we needed to do something to recoup some of the revenue that we were beginning to lose with people not coming to this space.
Right.
So the online store on our website, we quickly put that up thanks to the talent and expertise of my daughter, who's handling all our social media.
Yes.
She's very, very talented.
Right.
So we launched an online store. And that was one way of people discovering us. The other thing that we chose to do was to go out and be at local farmers markets. So we were at the Rosa Parks Farmers Market on Beatties Ford Road.
It's down the street from the local West
That's right.
Library.
We love them. Miss Vivian over there.
Yeah.
And the Uptown Farmers Market, which is a new one, uptown off of Tryon Street or Davidson Street. We set up every Saturday for a few hours and sold our loose leaf tea and pots of tea.
Wow.
And that again helped people know that we were here. I'm so glad that we did that. We're not actively serving at farmers markets anymore because we've been so busy with patrons coming in and coming back, but we have definitely kept up our online store so that we can ship tea, we can mail tea for those that are not comfortable getting out yet. We're sending tea to them.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, this is huge. I mean, I love the fact that this is a unique space and there is none other in Charlotte. Do people come here to have parties?
Oh yeah.
Because I'm looking at this space, I have like stuff going on in my mind. Do you all have tea parties?
We do. So we do allow this space to be rented out for private events. So we've had wedding showers here. We've had an actual wedding took place here. We had a memorial service here. We've had book clubs. We've had baby showers, graduation celebrations. People do rent this space. And I will be honest, I was nervous about doing that initially because I'm like, are people going to care for this space? And what I have found out is that people treat the Pauline Tea-Bar as if it's their own living room.
Yes.
They care for this space. They realize this is a gem to their community, to our community, and they take care of it. And we've had no problems with people putting the space back the way they found it. And even better, we had a Girl Scout troop in here a couple weeks ago. They had a tea party. Oh, they were amazing. Goodness. And I've never seen such a group of young women fluffing the pillows and sweeping and wiping down. I'm like, we can do all that, but they wanted to, that's their motto, leave it better than you found it.
And I always live by that mantra as well, including people,
yes.
Because I think it's a fixer. If you leave people better than you found the person, this would be such a better world.
I love that.
I feel like as a librarian, I change people, and every interaction is to change for the better. And that's why I call myself a life-brarian, because I'm always dealing with the lives of people every day. And the lives that you connect with here are transformed because you're presenting them with a better way of not just drinking, but because cheers to tea, but you're giving them a knowledge of, it's almost like taking a course, learning about the teas and the herbs, how to make them better for your body, how your body works. Because one tea might not be good for another person, based on their body chemistry. But it's a science, and it's also a lifelong journey, learning about teas. Now, I hear like or smell different things. There's so much sensory stuff going on in this space. But talk a little about the brewing or the infusion process, like the hot. I know there's ways of doing that with hot teas and also with cold brews. So what are those like?
Yeah, so we brew all of our teas here and based on what people choose for their tea leaves, and we use French presses. Okay. So just a regular coffee or tea French press, because you get more of the flavor. The bigger of the container, the leaves can expand more, and you get more of the infusion of the tea flavor. So we use those. We also have still tea ball infusers and other little cute animal infusers that people can purchase when they purchase loose leaf tea to brew at home. For our cold infused teas, we brew it just like we do regular hot tea. And I will say that for green teas, you don't steep the green teas as long as the other herb infused teas. The longer you steep it, they are. Yes. And you get the longer you steep a green or a black tea, probably the more pungent. Yes. Yeah. But we have people that like it that way, and they'll be specific, like let mine steep for a long time. Right. So people can request that as well. But for the cold brews, we simply just brew the tea as normal, and then we refrigerate it, and then pour them after it's cooled down, pour them into bottled teas. So we sell a lot of those. We sold a lot of those at the farmers market, and we sell a lot of cold brew teas during the spring and summer. Now,
do you serve them in little mason jars?
We
love the mason jar.
Yes, we do. We serve them in mason jars. We had a concert here last Friday night, a jazz concert, and we serve herbal tea mocktails. Because some people are looking for a non-alcoholic place to chill, and so our herbal tea mocktails are fun to make. The one that we had Friday was an hibiscus passion flower mocktail, so we sold out of that quickly. But those are served in mason jars, and a little slice of lime or lemon goes with it. So
that's fancy. Yes. It's one of those.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. And then I love the fact that I was looking at a tea book in our library. Of course, I have to bring library information. At the Allegra Westbrook Regional Library there, and Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, you can request a book on tea infusions. There's one called Tea Vitalized by Mimi Kirk. And Mimi Kirk has been a very influential tea and herbalist. But Tea Vitalized can be requested at the library, and it had so much information about the different types of teas and how to steep and how long to have the bags or the leaves inside. And when you do have a cold brew, to store it in the glass container versus the plastic. And then knowing that even though you're drinking tea, you still should drink water. Yes. Because I know for a long time, a lot of people are like, well, it's still water, but you still need your water. There is also, information in the Tea Vitalized book about how to process these teas on your own, because a lot of people are new to buying tea. So what would you tell a novice person who walks in, say, I want to start perfecting my tea. So what would you say to someone that?
So we always start out with that nice little menu that I showed you that gives them a good overview of all the teas that we have. and the benefits. And that's also on our website too. So people that know that they're going to come and visit the tea bar can just go on our website and look at what the teas are available. And they're right on our website. They can see a little bit of information about it. But we walk them through, and that's part of the gracious hospitality. We tell them, answer questions that they have. We tell them, you know, what it's good for and how it may taste. And we recommend, I like to start with asking people how they feel. If you're feeling a little slumped over this day, or if you're feeling a little achy you're sore from, you know, maybe a procedure or working out, we'll recommend the turmeric ginger and for pain and inflammation, or we'll recommend if they're like, I'm just so wired, I want to calm down. Okay, let me give you some chamomile, and we'll infuse it with a little bit of passion flower or lavender. So starting with how do people feel, how do they want to feel, is one of the ways that we can prescribe the tea that is helpful for them.
And that's where that doctor influence moves in.
Yes.
Ever so gently into the whole communication here. And I love that, because it is like you're prescribing a life drink, because it's their lifeline to get better, or to just feel good about themselves. And, you know, even with the climate of the world, it's like the small wonders of this place, and also knowing how to impact yourself with a cup of tea. I mean, it's like, okay, now I know what to drink. And I love a good chamomile tea.
Oh,
you know, I love that. And I noticed when we first walked in, you had all the loose teas in those containers. Now, how is it sold? Like when someone comes in, are they buying, can they buy a bag of tea or little tea bags? How's
they
that?
can. We sell the tea by the ounce, loose leaf tea by the ounce, and an ounce will give you about 5 cups of tea, depending if it's a small cup like that, you're going to get about 4 or 5 cups of tea from an ounce of tea. If you're using mugs the whole time, then you might want to get a couple ounces of tea, but it's $5 an ounce, and they can buy as many ounces as you want. We bag it up for them, and we put the labels on there. So we have several people that buy lots of teas, and then they get home and they forget which tea did I get. So we do label the tea bags, the bags of the ounces. And then we have people that are wanting an assortment of tea. They want to try 10 of them, and we sell that as well in single serve bags that they can just dip them when they get home. And the good thing people don't know is that you can actually use tea leaves a couple of times. So you can actually re-steep it, pour some more hot water in your pot with your leaves, and you can get a couple of cups of tea out of that.
Wow. Because you know what, when I always buy tea bags from the store, I always put it in, you know, serve it up. And then I'm like, okay, it's done. I throw it away. So basically, I just wasted another cup of tea. Now, so it's not about color, you know, because we're always like, oh, it's not dark enough, so it must be very diluted.
Yeah, well, I will say that the tea bags that we buy from stores are just the dustings and the fannings of the actual tea leaves. So it's always best to buy loose leaf tea leaves because you're getting more of the potency and the product. Yeah,
because I looked at and I'm not going to say what brand it was, but I looked at the back of the box, and it had a whole bunch of coloring added, and even sweetener, because a lot of people, and speaking of a health look, you don't want a tea that already has the sugar in it if you're diabetic or have any other issue. What would you say about, when you're buying tea, do you really need to put a sweetener in? What's the alternative to adding a sweetener?
So we have honey, agave here. We've got raw sugar, and we have a baker that actually does something really unique. She makes herb infused sugars. So we do have people that like to sweeten their tea, and they can choose a lavender tea or a lavender sweetener, lemon, peppermint, ginger, basil lime. So we have all of those herb infused sugar cubes as well. So, and they can add those sugar cubes into their tea. But I recommend just straight tea, no sugar, maybe a little splash of honey to keep the unique flavor of the tea.
And I love the taste of citrus a lot. So I like an orange rind or lemon peel, or even lime, and then ginger root in there. And then it's amazing how much you can do with tea. You can add fruit for the extra sweetness. And I've even seen ice cubes made with fruit inside. And then you put that in your tea, and it is
good
a nice
idea for our cold brew mason jar teas. Noted.
Yes.
We will be doing that.
Noted.
We'll call it the Viviette blend, ice cubes.
Making history all the time. But I would love that, I've seen ice cubes added to other types of beverages, and they have, like cranberry and blueberries or whatever, and mint, exactly, to heighten the flavor of the whatever beverage you're drinking. But I would think an ice cube in iced tea, adding the fruit or the herb inside the ice cube would be a unique way. And since we're approaching the spring season, that would be a nice drink to have.
I like that, because we grew up with the Lipton tea with the mint. Well, my dad would put mint from our garden in there. But we can just add that to the ice cube, and people want to add a mint infused ice cube tea or a cranberry cube. I love that. Thank you for that.
Making history again. But and speaking of spring, and I know we're still in winter season, but I'm very hopeful about the warmer temperatures.
Me too.
Aren't you? So I noticed we had a patio outside. We couldn't show it today because of the weather here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's a little dreary, and I must say it felt like ice earlier hitting my face. And I'm like, what is this? But the patio, can you give a description, since we couldn't really show what that's about, that scene out there?
So one of the silver linings that happened when COVID hit our community, the city, in conjunction with a couple of businesses and city government, launched an innovation grant to keep small businesses viable and scalable. We applied to have an outdoor patio because we knew there were people that were wanting to have patio seating and they wanted to feel safe. So we applied to expand our business to have that green. We had a lawn out there, just a grassy lawn. But I knew one day, after standing there and looking east and seeing the skyline, the Charlotte skyline, that I wanted a patio out there. So we had one of our carpenter friends to come and build that, got the funds to build that, put the concrete down, and he built a pergola. We have string lights around it. So when we have concerts, the string lights are on, or when it's dreary day like today and we're open, we have the string lights on to kind of be a symbol that we're here. Don't forget we're here. And so we have seating for about 15 people out on our patio to sit there with dog bows, because this community has a lot of pets.
All you dog moms and dads out there,
you can bring your pet. And sit outside.
Oh my goodness.
So it's a beautiful space, and you can see the Charlotte skyline out there from the patio.
And do you get a lot of people walking through, because this is a community? I mean, we're very close to the city, stone's throw away, but are there a lot of community people who come for their afternoon tea or just come to socialize?
I've been quite surprised that we don't have more community folk coming. We have community people come in a lot on Saturdays, Friday and Saturday late afternoons. But during the week, people are scheduling this. This has become a destination spot. So people are scheduling this into their calendar to drive over here to the Tea-Bar And we've had people, because the airport is just 5 minutes from us, people getting off the airplane and just, or waiting for their flight and coming and waiting here for their layover and having tea as a way of just passing time.
I might miss my flight if I stay. Honestly, it's so relaxing. And plus you have the nice cushy couches and there's also the sand.
The Zen Garden.
The Zen Garden. Okay, so before we leave today, I want to show the Zen Garden. It is a must. And this is our first food trip. And to make a food trip right, you have to show the deets of the spot. And I mean, I think this is like the icing on the cake. When I saw the Zen Garden, I was like, no way. So we're gonna take a quick walk over to the Zen Garden. So let's go, let's follow me, let's go. This is so exciting. There's the Zen Garden. And oh yes, and before we reach the Zen Garden, there's also books.
Yes,
there are books.
People come in, they don't know what to do because they don't have their electronics. We'll point them to the books, and we have markers and coloring books and games, simple little puzzles, all of that here for people that are wanting to actually unplug.
That sounds good. Yeah, because I was like, yeah, you come here to unplug and you don't necessarily have to bring your own book. There are books here to use. But before we go today, I want to sit here with Shelley and look at our Zen Garden.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
They play in this and they create beautiful pictures in the garden. And really what we're asking people to do is create beauty and be okay with it being erased, knowing that it's not going to be here forever, but just being again in the moment. So people love doing this.
And it's so relaxing.
Yes, especially with the water too.
And look at these little rings. This is oh my goodness. And I love the, it's like a palm tree. You can actually act like you are in another space.
Yes, you can. Yes.
The mural behind you is amazing. And this entire space, and I'll just quickly look around here in this area. We do have a little cubby spot over here where you can sit and meditate. And I love the fact that during this time, you do have the spaces where people can be separate from each other. Even though you're in the same room, you can, have your distance and feel like you're by yourself, like you're in your own living room.
You sure can. Yeah.
But I really appreciate you today. I appreciate all of that you've taught us because I've learned a lot as well.
I have enjoyed this.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna make sure that everyone is aware of where Pauline Tea-Bar and Apothecary is. Let me see if I can share my screen of our website. Let me get our website up here and say the website for us once again.
Our website is the paulineteabar.com. So the Pauline, Pauline Tea-Bar, TEABAR.com.
Okay, and I'm gonna make sure I get that up here on the screen for us. And I'm gonna go over here to share our screen. So if someone wants to connect, and I would say definitely visit. I would love to have your guests see you because you're such an amazing person.
Share
and yeah, there we go. Here we go. There we are. Now we can see.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So this is the website. All of the products that we mentioned are here for you to purchase. And I hope that you reach out to Shelley because you know so much about this business and the teas. And I see here this lemon ginger this is my favorite one right here. And this is yerba.
Yerba mate. That's what I was drinking.
This is what you were drinking. And those this beautiful one. This, oh man, turmeric, ginger. That must be very amazing and
It
smooth. Yeah.
is.
So everyone, I really appreciate all of the support that you're giving this tea bar. If you're here in Charlotte, please come through and say hello. And now we're going to say goodbye. And I hope you all enjoy your day. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.